Hello everyone, welcome to the casual talks with one of my student, Sai Vemuri, right?
Yeah.
Sai Vemuri, and he's from California. He came to Chicago to visit my house, and this is a session inside the gym. That is, we are inside the clubhouse of my apartment, and here we are not supposed to do videos, but we have come here inside the gym for a peaceful environment, and we are shooting this video. And Sai Memory will tell us in this video regarding his experience of the sadhana. That is, he has been into the Kundalini sadhana for like 5 months. Now he is in the Panchamukhi Hanuman month. He has completed Uchishta Ganapati, Tripura Bhairavi, Batuk Bhairav, Kamakala Kali, and now is in Panchamukhi Hanuman. So, Sai Memory, can you tell your experience on the 4 months, and also like which event in life triggered you to this path of spirituality?
Hey, thank you for first having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me over, Aditya. I mean, because like this you are gonna finish your masters as well, right? So I thought, and then you are going back to India as well, right? So I thought I just come over, just meet you in person, and yeah, I mean, yeah. So I just thought of it was a short trip, but yeah, I mean, but it gives me immense joy to see you in person, and it's a, I mean, Guru holds that position, so one need to respect the Guru, and Guru demands that when you see your Guru live in person, right, the joy that you feel is indescribable. So now coming to my story, right, like, so I mean, somehow so I was born and brought up in a very religious and Brahmin household, right? Like, where we always were like having huge, I mean, puja part, like as in like Deva Puja was like always plays a big role, has always had a big role in my life or in my family as well. So somehow I think one of the things that kind of, I don't know, whether these are all disjoint events or whether they are all related events, but somehow like in my childhood, my father kind of sent me to, he sent me to yoga classes thinking that yoga will be a very huge asset to me. And then he also used to encourage me to read a lot of Bhagavad Gita, right? So somehow that kind of drawn me into the spirituality, where it's just, spirituality means just, it's not about just going and having darshan and then doing like a trade with God, that okay, I'll pray to you, I'll do something to you and you do something to me in return. Somehow it led to me to kind of these kind of things, like doing especially yoga, and kind of understanding Bhagavad Gita, and just even chanting the Bhagavad Gita, right? Like, I think it gives you a flavor that there is something else in life as well. Just, I mean, just getting something in return, or just trying to have your desires achieved, material desires achieved, is just not the only goal in life. There is something else. So I had that inkling that there is something else in life. So that natural curiosity was there in me to kind of further explore more on the spiritual side. So as I went along, so I just kept treading along, and somehow at some point of my life I started like having some sort of mental obstacles on my academic side, right? But I mean, that kind of gave me a lot of pain, and that keeps giving me a lot of pain. That's when I kind of took spirituality as the way, but I didn't kind of know, like, okay, how to kind of go about this, how to do the spiritual kind of, how to go about the practice. That's when, I mean, I did according to what the knowledge that I had. I was doing my own sadhana at home, whatever I could before meeting you. But suddenly, as all the people kind of met you in the same way, I kind of magically found you. So thanks to YouTube algorithm, which kind of filters the videos according to like the person's intent, right? Like, so, and as I just mentioned it to you when we were talking also, right? Like, somehow your pragmatic way to kind of approach spirituality was the thing that kind of struck chords with me, right? Like, where it was very kind of, I can easily relate to it, and I can understand what you are saying, right? It was not like a so usually when I find some other spiritual videos, it's usually a small clip or it's usually a session where kind of okay, you understand like at a high level, but you can't imbibe that entire thing. So, but your videos were the first ones where I could correlate it, and they were also deep as well, where I could understand slowly one level by one level, right? And the 18-month program is like is another level, right, where you kind of slowly understand, slowly graduate from the first class to slowly to the higher classes, right? Like so, for me, even though I couldn't get any visual, I couldn't get any proper mental connections or do any conversations with the deities, but I still feel there is a lot of power in the Bijaksharas and what they kind of how they change you, right? Like I mean, some of these you again, it's not like a transaction where you do it and you expect something in return, but I could feel something that is happening inside. I could feel that the things are changing slowly, but I cannot describe what they are. Like I could feel something, but again I have no words to describe them. But even from the first the Vichista Ganapati, then Tripura Bhairavi, I think they are on one side apart from the internal transcendence, right? But they are also teaching me the important thing that that material benefits are not the only things in life that you should be after. There are other things as well. Like I mean, sometimes we forget that we take human form and we take things for granted and we run after the material desires, right? Especially I think that's the angle where at least in these 4 months I got to understand that there is a lot of things that goes behind the back. And as this topic came up in other live videos also, right? Like there is a kind of doership, and just don't try to go after these material desires and think that you are the architect of your every single thing in your life. There are many other things at play, and all you need to be doing is do whatever you can and just try to kind of do the sadhana which can help you transcend further. So that's my kind of experience with the sadhana. Again, I don't know if it to become a too big monologue.
No, it told a lot about how Western medicine plays the role of like temporarily healing any mental health issue. That is, whatever tablets we take, like sertraline, all that antidepressants for depression, anxiety, or OCD, bipolar, whatever mental health diseases we have, we take medications. But what happens is those tablets goes into our bloodstream and goes into the brain and starts numbing the brain. That is, it doesn't cure the problem, it just numbs the problem. It's like as if you get hurted in your leg, you're just putting anesthesia to the leg and your leg is getting numb. So you're waiting until the wound is healed. Still the anesthesia is once the anesthesia wears off, you will again feel the wound, so again you will take anesthesia. So it's like that only. So all the antidepressants, they just numb your brain and they don't cure the problem. In order to cure the problem, you have to wait for that wound to heal itself. That is, there are a lot of immunity cells like T cells, B cells in our body which will heal the wound. It will fight the antibodies, and it will fight the foreign bodies, and it will become stronger. That is, our immune system will become stronger. But if we take some external artificial medicines, right, our body will become weaker. That is, our immune system will be weaker, both physically and mentally also. There is a mental immune system. That is, if we face some problem, we have to solve it through questioning ourselves. Why is it there? What is the root cause? And also we have to connect with the divine, because the divine entities like Kali, Krishna, they have gone beyond these mental health issues. So they know exactly what we are facing, because some point even Krishna was on earth, some point Ganapati was also there on earth, Batuk Bhairava was there on earth, all the Bhairavas are there, all the Shakti Peeths. So they have also come to earth and have faced the same problems we have faced, but they have not relied upon any external stimuli. They relied upon their own internal mechanism. So that is what we are learning from the deities, that we have to depend upon our own internal mechanism for curing all the mental health diseases, and not some tablets, because the tablets are like just temporary cure and not the permanent solution. So The thing is, the 18 months, what it does is, first 2 months, right? It is Mooladhara, so it will solve your health issues. Then Swadhisthana, it will solve your sexual problems. Manipura, it will solve your anger related, ego related problems. That is, when Hanuman enters the chat, what happens is, Hanuman has all the Ashtasiddhis. That is, he has the Siddhi of teleporting himself, he has the Siddhi of shrinking, expanding, becoming invisible, then flying in the air. But what he does with these siddhis? Nothing. He just uses it to protect Rama's bhakts, that is, the people who are loving Ram. So he just uses it to protect them. He doesn't use it to show off. But humans are not like that. We one siddhi we get, like creating flour out of thin air. We show it off to the entire world and make money out of it. And that is what we are learning in the Panchamukhi Hanuman month, that we have to not look for the siddhis. Instead, we have to look for something beyond. That is, we have to use the siddhis for helping people. For example, if you get Mooladhara siddhi, you have to use it to protect your loved ones. For example, if any family member becomes sick, you just charge the water they are drinking, charge the food they are drinking with Uchishta Ganapati and Tripura Bhairavi mantra. And that food and water will get the property of medicine which can cure your family member. And same goes to Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata. If anyone is suffering from depression, just chant all the 5 deities' name on their Anahata, and it will solve their depression. And similarly, all the Vishuddha, if anyone has communication related problems, thinking related problems, or existential crisis, there is, every person has to face existential crisis, like why am I existing, why don't I commit suicide, and all that suicidal thoughts come to everyone's brain. And when it comes, only spirituality will help. That is, other mechanisms will be temporary solutions, but spirituality will create a strong foundation. That is, telling yourself that your true nature is not this character, your true nature is the pure consciousness. So when we tell ourselves that pure consciousness is spread across everywhere, it is there inside the body, it is there on the floor, it is there in the air, it is there in the mobile phone and you also. So that is same, but when the covering the pure consciousness gets, like the Anandamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha. So that is the sheath of body and mind, that is the emotion, intellect and the body. So when the pure consciousness gets these outer layers, we think that we are the outer layers. Like for example, I am thinking I am Aditya, Sai memory is thinking is Sai memory, but we are not that. We both of us are the pure consciousness itself. So when we realize this, that foundation gets formed, a strong foundation. We will not fear death. We fear death because we are attached to the kosha, we are not attached to the consciousness. So when we get attached to the pure consciousness, that is the Shiva, we will not fear anything. We will not fear death, we will not fear heat, we will not fear any kind of temperature fluctuation, because we are the same no matter what. So that is why we have to get detached from all the koshas and get attached to the pure consciousness. So that is what Gayatri mantra means. That is Om Bhur Bhuva Suha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. So Tat Savitur Varenyam means Savitur is the inner pure consciousness. So we have to listen to the inner pure consciousness, not the outer intellect, the inner intellect. So this is what the sadhana is for, to go beyond the physical. So again, before going beyond the physical, you have to correct your physical. It's not like you are going sick to the astral. No sick people are allowed in the astral realm. First we have to solve our physical body and mind. Only then we can transcend. So this is the aim of the 18 months, to solve your problems one by one. And what did you feel about the difference between Chicago and California? Like you told you are visiting Chicago first time, right? So can you explain?
Yeah, I mean, the temperature is much colder, as in there is a difference of at least as far as I see 15 degrees Fahrenheit difference between both. So here it is much colder. So, but yeah, I mean, the main difference is in California I don't have you, but here you are there. So that's a big difference. So but it was good. Like, I mean, it's for me, it's a short weekend trip, but it's like, but to meet you in person, right? Like, it's something else. To kind of, to look. I mean, as one of the other people were saying, right? Like, it's just like you got downloaded from YouTube and you are real in life. So, it's. Thank you for having me over, Aditya. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Like I'm blessed to have my students in person, and it feels like different bonding. That is, in video calls during initiation we don't connect so much, but when we meet in person, it feels like we were friends for so many lifetimes. And yeah, we went to the beach today in the cold winter, and how was the Michigan? Okay, it is not beach exactly; it's Michigan Lake. So how was the experience of Michigan Lake?
Yeah, it was very good. It was like, I mean, there were no people. Probably it's too cold at night, but it was a very nice walk around the shore, where it was like a proper pavement was laid out, and it's always good to walk on a lakeside where you get refreshing air. That too in a secluded place where you have, like, where you can freely think and speak in your company, right? And it feels much more special. So it was pretty good, and this entire vibe and all, like, it's much like this area of Chicago, especially, like, has lot of Indian students vibe, I guess, like students vibe.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good. Reminds me of my college days back in US.
Yeah, it's like Chicago is like mini Andhra Pradesh, many Telugu residents. Like the apartment that I'm living, that is Prairie Shores, it's filled with almost 90% Indian side. So we will never miss India here. But the thing is, only Indian food we miss. That is like the whatever we cook, right? It doesn't feel like the homely food. It's always our food, right? Whatever we cook, we don't feel good. But if our mother or if someone else cooks, it feels good for some reason. It's like grass is greener on the other side type of. Yeah. And what else? We were talking about Mad Max Fury Road in that beach. So I think we were talking that how the world will evolve and go into that state where everything will be deserted and no resources will be there to survive, and that is how Kali Yuga will end, with no resources. So it's a cosmic cycle of Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga. So so we have to focus on transcending. The people who don't focus on transcending will have to face the consequences of the peak Kali Yuga, that is the deserted places, the technological advancement, all the chips in the brain and all that stuff. So it's up to you guys to focus on transcending or to focus on technology. So what do you have to say about the evolution of mankind?
I mean, like, I mean, it's inevitable, right? Like, unless and until we kind of use the knowledge, I mean, to transcend, right? Like, there is always going to be more and more greed coming in, ego coming in, which can take us further down. As in, like, on one side, we can always see, like, I mean, the same YouTube videos can be used to transcend, where we can watch and we can also become lazy by watching. There are plenty of ways where we can become even lazy. So it's all about how we kind of use the technology, whether to use it to transcend ourselves or whether to become more and more lazy and dependent, or become more dependent on the dopamine rush that everybody that the companies binds us today with. So yeah, so at one point, I think, we ourselves have to kind of, I mean, even though from the short term benefits point of view you might not see, but I think from the longer term perspective, it's imperative that we kind of need to do sadhana and transcend, that, because that not only helps us get closer with the deities, but deities themselves, but also it will kind of solve the inherent issues that we have, which kind of leave us frustrated all along.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it is inevitable. And yeah, the thing about using technology, that is also because in Kali Yuga, only through technology we can teach transcendence. Like, whereas in Satya Yuga, when there was no technology to begin with, the Saptarishis and their students, the descendants, used to teach students in Gurukula system, but since now it is not existent, since now it is not there, technology is the only way we can teach transcendence, and it's like we are using the devil for spreading the knowledge of higher realms. So we have no choice, that we have to use the devil. That is the technology is not the devil, but what it does to a human is it makes a human lazy and addicted. So that is how a technology converts a human. And the people who use technology for the benefit of their consciousness is very less. It's maybe just like 2 to 3% of the entire population on earth. The rest of the 97-98% use it for for the dopamine rush and all that stuff. So yeah, what was there? Chicago is done, beach is done. Yeah, I think this is it. So what do you have to say about do you have any topics to talk about?
Yeah, as I said, right, like this is a small podcast session, but I'll come up with I'll have one more live session with you, just like others, right? Like especially where I'll have a list of all the topics and questions that I wanted to talk about, and that in that session, just like many other people here on the live sessions especially are going deep into many questions, right, where I think that's the real kind of intellectual discussion which is happening where you get real answers, right? I think I'll come up with that list. This was like an impromptu session, so I didn't prepare any list. The primary motive was to just see you in person, but I'll do that, Aditya. I'll schedule that, and I'll have a full list. Just like Art Terror, I'll have a full list.
Yeah, this is like a surprise session. We didn't plan this session. It was just like out of the blue. We came to the gym and we started shooting video. Yeah. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Yeah, we'll meet in the next podcast and some other live sessions. Yeah. Yeah. So thanks for watching. We'll meet in the next video. Jai Mahakal.
Jai Mahakal.